Should probably turn on my microphone. How's everybody doing, as I was just saying to myself? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Go. All right, excellent. Thanks, Blake, for the check. How's everybody doing? So it came to my attention last week during right before the stream, the evening before. Ryan West pointed it out that I was on the verge of 200 streams. So welcome to the official 200th session. And I got to give props. I posted to Patreon, to patrons, and said, hey, 200th to today. And I posted a link to the first one I did. So I didn't go through the whole hour or two that I did the first one, but I know Nelson Farty McButterpants was one of the first folks that was there. Lucas was there from Nebraska, and I'm sure a few others, maybe some of you. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge a couple of individuals that I saw on the very first live stream. Ryan, I wanted to see. Ryan was the first one here today, I think, in Shambot. Good to see you guys. Jeff, morning. I think Jeff is starting to chime. I think Jeff's starting to tune in just to see if I talk about him in the Delta Green group. I think that he's just making sure I don't talk crap about it. Then he could be here to correct me. Matt, good to see you. Morning. Wayne, morning. Morning. Hoos, morning. Mike, good morning. Aragon, morning. There he is. Farty, good to see you. It's been a long journey with everybody here. Morning. I wish I kept track. I don't think there's a way for me to keep track to see how many people were at, like how many live streams. Many of you, a lot, for sure. So thank you very much for being here. And sticking with me over all these years. And some of us have become, good friends over time. So much appreciated. Played with many of you. Laramie, good to see ya. Today is the day my turn as the internet is out holder. Yikes. Jeff, good morning. Thank you. Blake, always good to see ya. Test Trekkie, good to see ya. William, good to see ya. Full house. Tad, good to see ya. Mike, appreciate it. Thank you. New shirt. Yeah, what do you think? Huh? You too can get this shirt if you want. I don't know if I have it linked to this channel. I should, but I don't think it's showing up below. Got a couple new shirts. This one I was testing a couple materials too from Teespring. This one's the super thin one. I don't know how it'll hold up over time. And then I got another one. I think it's like a tri-blend, thicker one. Oh, my ear trumpet. This guy. One gift membership. Who's the lucky winner? Thanks, trumpet. Much appreciated. Doc Flamingo, congratulations. You're the fine winner of a gifted membership. Thanks so much. Scotchy McBourbon, good to see you. Happy Saturday and congratulations to 200. Thank you so much. Mr. White, good to see you. Joe, good to see you, buddy. Mike, hey, good to see you. All is well with you, Mike. Orcus Dorcas, if I could walk 200 miles, then I would walk down Siena Boulevard, pass Aldi, make a right on La Sierra to hit the 405 to the 5 and head towards Ventura Boulevard to walk 200 more. Orcus Dorcas is part of the Californians. Morning. Dren, morning. Good to see you. Nubis, morning. Holy cow, good turnout. Kristen, good morning. Doc again, good morning. Cognizant, morning. Tim, morning. I think that's everybody to the time here. It's open mic day. I didn't have another topic, but I actually kind of do. Kind of do, kind of don't, but I'm open to suggestions. If anybody's got a burning thing that's bothering them as they run their favorite RPG with their favorite group, if you will. We've had we have had we're playing Outcast Silver Raiders. It's an interesting game. I did a video here on this channel and I only did one one very, very short session that didn't get into a lot of the details at GameholeCon. Like it was, barely enough to even have anybody remember some of the mechanics. Harrigan's the game master. That's why he says, "Uh-oh." Wayne Peacock's like, character death? Well, no, no, it's not gonna be. Don't worry, Harrigan. It's all good. Because I think it's mutual amongst all the players. If you are not familiar with Outcast Silver Raiders, or OSR, if you will, you read the rules and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, sounds good. Oh, okay. And then you get it to the table and you're like, what is going on here? And we are in session 6 or 7. And so if you're not familiar with Outcast Silver Raiders, it's very human centric. It is there. It touts itself as OSR, although it probably fit into the camp of the new SR space, or as Analytic Dice would say, not D&D. But there's skills. So, and there's I did a video on how they handle character death and how you can name an heir, and then that heir, if you die, gets all your stuff, and then you become that. And that heir is usually a henchman or retainer, and then you could take that retainer, and some of your XP will transfer over. It's kind of a cool death mechanic. But anyways, the short of it is this: there are saves and there are checks, and if it's a check, God, I'm going to get this messed up. I get it messed up every session. We're on session 7, as Harrigan points out. It's kind of a weird system because it uses D10s, D6s, and D20s. So the D20s are typically to hit. It's got regular armor class. It's got a standard array. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but essentially to succeed on a check or a skill, right? A check, not a save. And that's usually when you're doing something. And then the save is usually when something is happening to your character. You roll on a skill check a D6. And you have to roll. The result to succeed is a 6. And you add your modifier, an appropriate modifier if it applies. And it is very much telling you to not roll very often in the game and to try to put yourself into position or provide enough information so that you can have the game master provide you with a +1, right? Kind of like, well, I'm in the dark. So I'm going to light my torch. Okay, so I'm going to give them a +1 because they have the torch lit, right? It's some of those circumstantial ad hoc bonuses. Because I'll tell you what, if you don't have any, rolling a 6 on a D6 for those checks is tough. And then a save is you got to roll a 10 on a D10. Yeah, here it is. Wayne's making sure I'm track, right? D6, save, D10. And Harrigan says, skill check, a purposeful action by the player called for by the GM, D6 powered. Yes, right. Save is a reaction, avoiding risk, etc. Pretty typical for OSR in the terms of what it is, but the odds. So if you can imagine every roll that a GM might ask you to make is going to be a D6 based or a D10 based roll. And your mods are like, God, even the standard array. So in D&D, the standard array is usually like 10 to 11 is 0, right? 10 to 11 is 0. 12 to 13 is +1. 14 to 15 is +2. 16 to 17 is +3, right? And 18 is +4, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and the D20 is still to hit. So when you but that's the array. What I mentioned was like a D&D 5e array modifier. In Outcast Silver Raiders, it's lower. So I think you get like what I gotta get my book out if you guys can help me out, Harrigan. So if you have like a 16 in Outcast Silver Raiders, you might get a +2. Maybe I think the highest you might get is a +2. They're like shifted up further, right? So or down, maybe. Yeah, attribute modifiers are -3 to +3. And the tricky thing about Outcast Silver Raiders, which makes it even more interesting, is it's 3d6 down the line. So you can't really and if you roll 3d6 down the line, then you could pick your class. So if you're a fighter, you're gonna if you have a higher strength, you're probably gonna pick a warrior class, if you will. But yeah, the 3s are a little harder to get, but it's 3d6 down the line, right? We are just getting our poor Wayne in the chat is on his 3rd character in 2 sessions. So even though we're on session 7, most recently, he in the last 2 Wayne rolled up a character. The last session, he kind of hung around for like an hour and a half. And then the new session, 7, started, and he had a new character. It was introduced at the end of last session. And then the first 15 minutes of the session, there's an encounter. Wayne's character dies again. And we play for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And so, boom, he's down again. And so we were talking about, the whole reason I explained all of this is because a 6 on a D6 is hard. A 10 on a single D10 is hard. And you're not getting these it's all right, I got a +4. For these kind of anything athletic based, dexterity based, I have a +4, so I'll always be good. My character has a wisdom of -1 modifier. And so for me to even succeed on a D6 roll is crazy. And if you cannot mathematically succeed, then what happens? So for a check specifically, there is no way you could succeed, you still roll 2d6. And then you right, 2d6 and then add them. But no, 2d6, but you take the lowest number with the modifier. So my point, the reason I bring this up is because we were talking about amongst us, I think Harrigan, poor Harrigan, he's like, guys, this is the way I'm running, and I'm not doing it this way, and it just happens to be like this, and I suppose I could probably change a couple things, and I know I'm speaking for him, but as a game master, when stuff kind of goes kind of sideways like that, or you're trying to be you just want to make I'm not being and I'm not being heavy-fisted and this and that, although he probably is. Harrigan is a JM that I think most of us are, where we are thinking of what's going on. So, for example, Wayne's character was on watch. We left a baddie that we thought kind of in a room in another building, and we thought they were secure. So as watch started, we kind of, the party beds down, Wayne's on watch. Well, of course, the baddie comes out of the building, And I know that with Harrigan's GMing approach, it's very much, what would happen during this time period? What's going on? Okay, well, the baddie's pounding down a wall, probably eventually breaks through. How long does that take? Okay, a watch is going to last this long. probably by the end of the first watch, then the baddie will come out, etc. So he's making it all make sense behind the scenes. And I think most all of us in the group know that he's a good game master, and the things that are happening are mostly part of the system. And I say mostly because it's not always the game master, right? We could complain like, come on, man, jeez, you just killed another one of my guys. So I bring this up because in order to succeed, you got to get these modifiers. And I think I was telling Phil McClory in our Discord server, our private group chat about the game, like, I wonder how much we need to convey what, like, in the nitty gritty details of what we're doing, so that in order for either rolls not to happen, or when they do happen, we have a couple pluses in order to succeed, because we put our characters in the situation to do that. And so case in point, you say, most of us are like, well, I'm going to go and, all right, I'm going to take first watch. All right, I'm going to take second. I need to rest. Okay, sounds good. Great. But what's assumed? And then what is, like, I just want to explain what I'm doing. I'm going to, I kind of brought up this example. We see it in some of the weirder modern day, right? Like, get a string, put a bunch of aluminum cans on it, put it out on the perimeter so the bad guy trips over and makes a bunch of noise, right? Probably maybe be able to do that in fantasy if you got a bunch of pots and pans or something that are light, but let's admit it's probably not as feasible in that environment, but you kind of get the gist. So I'm just like, and I called it, 5E-ism. And most of us will, how often do we get into I walk in a room, what do I see? Give me a check. And it's not that that's happening in our game, but it's just something to think about as, dude, we are like, how did this person playtest this thing and not drive players absolutely freaking bonkers? Now, in defense of the game and the design, once you get past first level, things change quite dramatically. But in first level, it very much seems like, and I think Wayne even said this, it feels very much like you're a magic user in first edition AD&D. Like, one blow and you're done, right? Like, we've had some formidable opponents where, they do 6 damage and we got 4 hit points because we have no con modifier, and you roll a d6 for your hit points, and you're going to be toast in a couple rolls. Do they have a reason for D10 for saves? I get the D6 for checks. That's an OSR standard for most. Pretty normal for OSR, not 3.5 D&D. Fourth. Yeah, Wayne has bought the farm in each of the last 3 sessions, so yeah, he's on number 4. Like, anyways. Ryan says we're tied, Death Twins. So Ryan and some of the crew in the chat are also playing BX. And, people like Ryan's game is being run by Jim. I don't know if Jim's going to pop in. But Jim's old school, right? And, BX is not, it's a little different game as well. But, man, it's just, Wayne, no 2d6 need boxcars. Oh, that's right. 2d6 need boxcars. That's right. Appreciate it. In order to succeed, if you cannot mathematically. Orcus Dorcas, D10 plus 8 is the amount of magpies buzzing you during Aussie Angry Bird season. Oh boy. So he said, Harrigan, I want to give him, some ability to put his thoughts out there. If you mods put you out of the range, you cannot succeed or will always succeed. You roll a 2d6 boxcar succeed if you have -5 or more. Snake eyes miss if you have +5 or more. Yeah. He admits you have some culpability. I don't know, man. I think you're being a little hard on yourself. No, this is not a bang on Harrigan. It is totally the game, and frankly, because of the game, it puts on another challenges on game masters as well. It's like, well, when do you have the players roll? When do you not have them roll? And then when they roll, like, then we're faced with this unsurmountable odds, I think. Mike says, seems like the system is looking for you to do interesting things to gain a precious but small advantage. Hashtag nailed it. No question. It says don't make them roll if you don't have to. They even say you don't want to roll in this game. And if you do, you gotta put yourself in a position that gets those mods, no question. BX plays the same. How we forget the early days of grueling punishment that were these games. Yeah. Jim can't make it today. He's at a reunion. Oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up, Gabe. We all know where everybody's at. Yeah, Jim phoned in, said he couldn't make it. System does determine lethality to a large extent. You sure there isn't some blame to lay on Harrigan? Well, I don't want to do it here on the stream. And to be fair, the players have been doing lots of that, but it's easy for us to all slip when the action is rolling. For sure. And like, what kind of creative things can we do in the moment that will allow us to make that happen? And there's help. There's assist. I'm going to assist them in doing something or help. So if the person that is being assisted succeeds, the next person gets a +1 on their roll. So it's not without it's like, well, you just have to kind of do things this way. So part of this, the reason I bring this up is just as like a discussion on, playing theater of the mind is one thing, playing a heavy tactical game is another, but also when you think about like, Jeff, you'll get a kick out of this. I brought up our Castles and Crusades game as an example. And while Castles and Crusades is a particular game, and some like it or don't, and some would say it's OSR or it's not, that's not to be debated here necessarily. But if you want the old school philosophy and approach to some of these games, it's, rulings over rules. And it's also about, tell me how you're doing something. It's not walking into the room, here we go. 16, what do I see? Well, I didn't ask you for a roll, right? I walk, I crack the door, I look around, the outside edge and the threshold, maybe even feel my hands around it. And with some of that, if there's something there, in some games, you just, because you did this around the edge, you feel the thing at the top. No roll needed. But you got to tell me that you're doing that. I can't rely on a perception check to determine whether you took your hands around the edge of a threshold of a door. So it's getting into the mindset of, okay, I walk in the room. What do I see? Well, there's a chest. There's a stand next to a bed, or what looks like a bed. There's a drawer. There's a lantern sitting on that stand. There are sheets on the bed. Sure, right? Looks like it might be filled with goose feathers. I don't know, whatever. Okay. Floor is stone. All right, got it. Well, it should be in here. I walk over to the stand. All right, you walk across the room. All right. You got to, now with the assumption of that is the person's walking from the door directly to the stand. They're not going around the outer edge of the room. So if there's something in and they don't like, well, I look at the floor, it's tiled and it's got different color tiles. Then you're like, whoa. If they don't specify, well, I step on the black ones or the white ones only, right? It gets a little finicky. But in some scenarios, there's people like, I go diagonally across, stepping on each black tile. But what if they don't say that? Then you get into an argument with the game master that says, well, you never, there's a pit trap. Oh, well, how did, what? It's like, well, yeah, you walked right across to go to that stand next to the bed and you trip a trap. But also with those, then you get times that the group starts to turtle. And then, of course, you don't want that to happen as a game master because then they never get anything done and everything takes like an hour to accomplish. Like, oh, you're going to walk in the room. It took them an hour to get in the room. So there's a trade-off. But I also think like there's a difference between like what we would call sometimes fun house scenarios versus what's not. But nonetheless, right? Sometimes you just, okay, you walk across. I have to assume you're just walking across, right? Is that what you're doing? Yes. Okay, let's not make this a big federal case. You walk across, you're standing there. All right, I open the drawer. Great. It's open, it's not, it's locked, it's not. Okay, you open the drawer. Say the GM knows there's a secret compartment in the drawer, right? Well, what do? I open the drawer, I look in there, what's in there? Well, there's this trinket, that trinket. Okay, I pull those out. All right, excellent. What else do you do? Shut the drawer. Okay. You could potentially, as a game master, make the person roll to determine whether they inadvertently find the secret drawer, or because they didn't stipulate, like, well, I'm going to, I pull the whole drawer out and shake it upside down. In that case, the fake plywood, false bottom literally falls out onto the floor, and then there's a journal that falls out on top of it because of the weight. And so it sits, they drop down at your feet. Excellent, right? Gabe, and you're sure you're not rolling too often? I don't know. That is a debate. How often is too often, right? I don't know. It's definitely a call. So the discussion point of the day is empowering Harrigan to kill more of Wayne's characters? Blake, I love the fact that you have framed that as a question. Ooh, Harrigan, how did you start to play as jailbreak, recruited by one of the factions? Yes, there is Orcus and yep, Gabe, but that's foremost in my mind a lot. I try to save the roles for many meaningful situations. They are failing all the time at these roles. That is fair. That is true. So that's another thing. So even if so Harrigan, whether he's making us roll often or not, when we do roll, we are sucking wind all the time. It's laughable half the time. Jeff says, in my humble opinion, that style of play is more imaginative. And I wholly agree with you, Jeff. But there's a weird trade-off. He continues, gives more to the players. Yeah, for sure. It's a shift though. And even with us, Jeff, in CNC, we're not playing that way. We just aren't. And I was saying, if I were to run, I don't know if I would run Castles and Crusades, but I would, BX or whatever, even Shadowdark to some degree. If you're going back to those kind of empowering the players to come up with imaginative things to do, I would just say when somebody is getting into what I call 5Eism, and they just I walk in the room, roll the die, 20 on a perception. What do I see? What? What are you doing? Tell me how you're approaching this. Okay. All right, Sean. So, and some players do it inherently. Some players might not be used to playing that way. It's just a shift. And I have been victim of that as I'm not thinking that as well. I don't know how many times in Outcast Silver Raiders I've actually said about all right, how am I going to actually approach this? And describing what we're doing, what I'm doing. Case in point, Delta Green game, shift, whoop, gears, not OSR. I say at the beginning, and these guys are new, so I cut them some slack, but it's all right, when you are recruited to Delta Green, the organization, it is agreed upon in some in some form, in some fashion, they are going to reach out to you, and it's agreed upon, right? Hey, how do we reach you? Okay, or hey, in the future, when we need you, this is going to happen. We're going to send you a telegram, and it'll have a mark on it you'll notice and recognize. That'll indicate to you, blah. And I turned it over to the players to come up with an idea of, okay, when you met with Delta Green, you guys came to a conclusion that would be a part of common trade craft, so what did you guys come up with? Now, so you get this message to be called to this brief, the briefing, a night at the opera, which is an operation. Tell me how that happens. And there are players that'll just be like, "Durr, I don't know, man. You tell me, Ron. I don't know." Or they come up with something goofy or whatever the case is. So then, like, sometimes, like, well, how am I going to get that to even into OSR when I just flip it over to them and there's no wrong answer? And they're like, I can't figure out what I'm going to do. This game, as written, wants a blend of what Sean is describing in skill checks and saves. Fail forward. Games wherein the chance of failure is high become exercises in screwball comedy. And it's not becoming that. But it is like not making our lives easy. But I get what you're saying, Gabe. It's for the players will be like, oh, shocker, we all failed. Great, And Wayne says, I think there's a bit of a mismatch between Harrigan's excellent high-pressure GMing style and this system. I think a system that allows for more cinematic rules interpretation would be a better fit. Orcus. It took a while, but I did give plenty of suggestions in-game for my local group when running OSE and Dolmenwood to help them to be creative in situations and combat and stop just relying on the sheet. Yes. There's where I'm to blame, not recognizing the mismatch, Wayne. Turtling, intended or not, is boring. Yeah, for sure. No question. And Wayne says, we all do this. I do this when writing rules, hopefully not too often. Yeah. There's nowhere to, we don't want to, we're not like half the American society looking for somebody to blame. It's a combination of a few things with the game, for sure. First of all, I'm enjoying myself because I'm kicking ass. Phil, I haven't lost the character yet. Yet. I did, but that's another story. Kind of. Mike says, some games incentivize careful description on the part of the PCs. The game may be such a game. For sure. Mike, you're dead on. There's no question. Nick says, game versus story. Yeah. Yes. Right. Nick, good to see you, man. Ryan, there's a little to no reward for fighting in OSR. XP equals silver. So if you can get in and out stealing without getting murdered, win. Yeah. We just unfortunately like running into things that want to kill us. Or, I don't know, like there's the White Hawks, which is a faction. Just to give you kind of an idea, the dynamics of the Outcast Silver Raiders is very much like kind of a cross between medieval England and the time of the Troubles. And if you're not familiar with the Troubles, it's Ireland's wish to succeed from England. And if you were around the 70s and 80s, it was a complete shit show over there. But it is very much like that. Right? There's the North, the bitter North. And then you have kind of religion ruling the land. And so there's kind of an analogous, the White Hawks are the big factions that want to squash the North, and you're always going to get questioned and scrutinized, and not the relationships are not healthy, I will say. So it's this kind of conundrum where it's like we may run into them, and if we just run them afoul, we might end up being locked up, especially if we don't want to combat. That's where I'm going with that. Phil says OSR has the worst help mechanic I've ever seen. Easy tasks should be easy. And I don't think that's not happening. Like, to be clear, Harrigan is not that guy. He's not that guy. He's not having us roll for walking down the street. Oh, you twist your ankle. It's very much like combat. We're sucking wind in. A perception-ish check, like wisdom, if we want to if there's more to gain. But everything at face value is kind of face value. I've got that feeling anyway. Devil's Advocate, says Blake. Modern game designers would argue the game sheets and players should encourage the game's design playstyle and not be reliant on the GM explaining the style. And there is that component in the player's guide for OSR, like, just to be clear. Harrigan says, all OSR incentives smart play. Okay, so Raiders is no exception, and these guys are playing smartly most of the time, but when those rolls do come, your +1 might take you from 1 and 6 to 2 and 6. Yeah. You could rewind it, Phil. This has DVR. You could like go all the way to the beginning of the stream. And then you could catch up. About this game on the server's recommendation this morning, it is really talking me out of it. In its first level specifically. Like once you get past level 2, then you start getting some stuff that you can really make a difference with. You'll have powers that really, like Phil's guy, when he does blood magic, which inflicts damage upon himself, I mean, he's going to do 46 damage. Like anything at first level, 46 is probably going to nuke that freaking thing. So, you know, you're only getting one kind of half of the story here if you don't own the game and haven't played it. Roll for time to complete, not to determine success. Well, that's interesting. And that's not probably too far off. Like, yeah, it's not a failure. It's a takes too long. And if it takes too long, that has implications, right? Not a perception check guy, but I'm also not a pure player skill guy. Lots of fertile ground in the middle. Yeah. Salt Heart. Free topic, dude. Free. You missed the beginning. It was like, we're playing an OSR game, Outcast Silver Raiders, Kevin, and we're just getting the players are getting their asses handed to them. And Harrigan's the GM, just so you know. And if you're like, oh, it's Harrigan, well, of course. Just kidding. But it is very much a, like, going to old styles play, Kevin, is really what it comes down to, is positioning yourself and telling the GM, I'm doing this in order to not have what you think is going to happen. Or getting a bonus so that when it does happen, I have a bonus to succeed. Because, hey, man, I told you I'm feeling around the door threshold for any funny business. So if there's a wire or a trap, I mean, come on. My Sean meme screen cap file is filling early this morning. Sweet. Thanks, man. It seems like this topic is diagnosing the issue with this game that Sean's describing. Kind of. CJ, good morning. Fail forward with the right group can be a phenomenal mechanic for emergent storytelling. Okay, Silver Raiders, OSR style. Sean, why did you say that out loud into the universe? I don't know. But just an organic one, not an official topic. No official topic here. Jeff says, I mean, a lot of the game flow depends on the chemistry of the group at the table more than the game mechanics. Yeah? I mean, maybe, kind of, sort of. I think, here's my take on that, Jeff. I think, yes, kind of, sort of. Because I think what you're probably getting at is, what if you have a person at the table and everybody's kind of like, the party's gelling, but then you have one that's like, all right, I'm going to go check this out. And they just walk off. And then they get into trouble and then you have to go and bail them out. So I think that's what you're maybe talking to about chemistry. Like, if you come to a plan, there's the one person that foils it. For example, my guy has like his wisdom's like 5, and I have like an intelligence of 16. So I'm the bumbling professor that's really smart, but I do kind of dumb things. And I play that up. So if you're playing with a party like with Phil and Wayne and Kevin, and they're like, hey, we should do this, and I just kind of walk off. Or, there's the guards there, and I just decide to like take their stuff and walk out the bar. And not. My guy would be the guy that doesn't do half the things he needs to do in order to get the modifiers. Ironically, in this game, right? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. He's not dumb, but he is like not wise. So he could do kind of goofy things, which could be like, well, then I could piss off the players and the characters in the game because, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing, Kieran? Like, we got to keep an eye on that guy, keep him out of trouble. And I kind of I try to keep it reeled in because I know if you do it too much, you're going to really piss people off. But the game mechanics system matters. So I wouldn't necessarily agree with you, Jeff, in the fact that it's like, well, it doesn't really matter what the mechanics are of the game as long as you got a cool group. Maybe there's much to it, but Mike says, in this case of fitment, meaning the game is just not a good fit for your table's style of play. Maybe. Solid Heart. The biggest issue I find is not players, but GMs who hold to the script and fail to award creativity by PCs. I will say that's not happening in our game. Then they complain when PCs can't fill in the blanks, depending on who they have been playing with. PCs are trained against it. More Scotland than Ireland, but hey, thanks, Harry. Well, fair. Later Ireland, early Scotland for sure. How do you introduce your new players to this world without making them a master at creating new characters? Well, it doesn't take long to round one up. But to that point, Harrigan's got to have to. I mean, we are in the middle, maybe in the woods. There's been a couple of instances where we've injected, like we've raided a. The word I'm looking for? As I get my thoughts. A priory. And when we go in there, we encounter bad guys. And we get rid of the bad guys, but one of our characters die. Well, one of the replacement characters could be in that priory. Very easy. But when you start getting into like the wilderness, how do you inject a new character in the middle of the woods? Well, there's just a guy wandering around, But I think with this last session, we're fast forwarding, like typically because it's a hex crawl, it's kind of part of the game, but we are just gonna like travel from here to here, and we're gonna get back to our like home base. When we get to our home base, then we can introduce the two characters that died in the last session. There's ways to do it, right? That makes sense. Thanks, Murder Hobo. Good to see you. Hey, I think I'm at max capacity right now. So if you would like, just do it because it's the 200th episode. And just say like, you know what? This guy's hung in there for 200 and I've been here for 190 of them. Hit the like button. That's all I'm going to say. And frankly, I haven't turned on ads yet. So, hey, you didn't have to watch an ad. Like it because of that. Content sucks. Conversation sucks. No ads. Well, I should probably click that. Thanks, Sweefer. Good to see you. Thanks for everybody. You guys, man, I'm just blessed to have all you guys here all the time. Thank you. Oh, yeah. CJ, true. I think he's probably conversing amongst the folks. But the mechanics should encourage the type of game you want to have fail forward is a tool for that, just like anything else. Tools only do what you use them for. Yes. My screwdriver is a shitty hammer. Well, depends on what your screwdriver looks like. I'm going to create a hammer with a screwdriver end and go, here's what my screwdriver looks like. Mod it, baby. Mod it. Trumpet, you crazy person. Thanks for another gifted membership. Congratulations, Chen Sun Shu Lu. Arrogant says, I think the end Wayne has it. I want to run a high pressure game, and for sure, that's full of risks. The classic situations when you go to dice, even in the OSR, and the save and skill system is pretty brutal in those situations. We have plans to address it. Since I don't play as many groups as many of us here, I get the aha moments a little slower. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Nunnery, Priory, is helping me get my brains. So Jeff continues, my aha moment today is to select the game mechanics that best fit your group's style of play. But first you have to define that style of play. Here's case in point, Jeff. Jeff and I were talking about Delta Green. He texts me, he's like, dude, this game system is deadly. And I told him, yeah, somebody pulls out a gun, somebody's dying, or they're walking away with some pretty extreme freaking wounds. It's a very simulationist, real day, modern kind of thing. That's what they want to capture. So if somebody pulls out a gun, and Jeff's like, oh yeah, man, I get it. I'm going to be super careful or, whatever, right? But the rest of the group may not understand that fully in context. So when the first combat starts, shit is going to hit the fan. It is going to be not great. But it's only if they understand, like, this, I'm serious. Like, you pull out a gun, yeah, you could come out on top. Or your character's gone. Even if they're extremely wounded, you may be in a hospital for months. So, system, right? If that doesn't align to Jeff's point, though, like, well, I want to play outgunned or feng shui, whole different ballgame. Been in 3 different groups who had a thing for introducing new characters equal existing PCs, find new PC tied up in a sack, hostage by orcs, mafia, Klingons. Right. Yes. Well, we kind of lean on what we go with, right? Arrogant continues. OSR also has death saves, right? Which, oxymoronically, are con checks. We've had 12 rolls in the game, all failures. Thank you for context on that. Thanks, Arrogant. Because I didn't know how many death saves were made. But there are death saves. And when it is a con check and you have to roll a 10 on a con check, on a con save, and say you have a -1 con. Well, Sean, if you got a -1 con, you're probably not in the greatest health, right? You're kind of fragile anyway. Absolutely. Totally agree. But, dude, you're just like, all right. And I will say, how do you overcome that deficit? Well, you could position yourself to like be have a better role, right? You could do something. Well, not if you're unconscious. Well, a player could come over, right, and they could come over like with like a first aid kit, and then they would give them a +1 to their con save. Absolutely. Right. That absolutely. No argument here. But as the player character, you're just straight rolling at that point, right there. It's not even like, well, it's I'm on watch. I'm looking out in this direction, right? So yeah, if the thing comes from that direction, GM's like, yeah, I'll give you a +1, +2 to the roll, no problem. They come up from behind you because you said this way. If they come up behind you though, right, that's fair game. But if you're on a death save, good luck. Good luck. Thanks, Andy. Good to see you, man. Thanks, Trumpet. Appreciate it. John, good to see you. God, full house today, man. I think there's probably some seats in the back there if you want to come on in and just, there's a seat up here. So to let you know, full house. Wouldn't say I've played an OSR game, but I am in the new-ish Walking Dead game. And you kind of have to go in accepting you will probably die. Fun, but hard to invest much in your character. Fans of Walking Dead are in the chat, no question. Harrigan's a big fan of The Walking Dead. He thinks it's one of the best free league rule sets made. I don't think I'm speaking out of line by speaking for him. So, yeah. Tim says, so, which is deadlier, Outcast Silver Raiders or Trophy Dark? I have not played Trophy Dark. I cannot answer that question. Kristen says, Trophy Dark. Nah, OSR, but your fate is not predestined. Tad says Trophy Dark is kind of a play-to-lose game. Orca says, sure, but aren't you doomed to die in Trophy Dark? Does it really count? Neither is deadly as Raw BX. So, like watered-down version of Torchbearer? I love this. Like, this should be a video. People, like, 5 people at a coffee shop that are literally saying these things to each other. Deadliest game I've run recently with brutal damage above and beyond OSR. Pendragon 6E, hands down. Interesting. Not to harp on this, but friends also cannot keep you from dying without making a very difficult first aid check. That's why we just don't do it. Ryan says, Jim's not here, but descending AC is the best, and not why BX is so brutal. Oof. 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 Death at 0, Ryan. That's the thing. Orcus Dorcas got it. Still, the spiral, i.e. baked into the game for the sake of setting and story. OSR technically gives you a chance if the dive gods love you. So votes for TWD, The Walking Dead. Reading A, good to see you. I'm just here for the donuts and coffee. Well, hey, feel free. Help yourself. Got plain ones today. I'm not a big fan, but they were all out of glazed. Also the dice gods. Dude, totally. Totally. Nice work. Dak banned from CheapCon. Descending armor class, banned from CheapCon. So, I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about anything specific. I apologize because a lot of you haven't played Outcast Silver Raiders, so you're kind of going, well, it kind of sounds like this. Or maybe you're thinking of that. And, it has to be experienced, I will say. To me, I wanted to play the game. I like the game. I like the setting. And now it's hit the table. It's like, ooh, yikes. Ooh, I don't know. What else you guys got? We're like, that was a pretty long rant. Brutal, I will say. Brutal. Which is weird too, because it's like, well, we want to be OSR, but we got skills. And yeah, okay, kinda. Because if you have skills, I get that they're like very situational, but then people are looking at the skill list. So it's kind of weird. This is weird hybrid. Question for you OSRs, one shot or wouldn't work? I'm not sure. Sean, you should try Miseries and Misfortunes. Oh, interesting. One-shot OSR games are wonderful. OSR, come for the setting, embrace the meat grinder. Eric had proposed, like, you could just start out as a group that just finds jobs to do. With us, it's been the kind of the situation is we first of all kill 3 guards right off the bat. Session 1, we ambush them. We killed 3 members of the White Hawks. Right, steal their silver. Well, we're probably going to garner some attention from that. We go back to where kind of our community is in the woods, and something's happened, and they've kidnapped a member, like Wayne's player character's mama's baby mama, or maybe baby to be mama. And so we got to go and get her. We got to track her down. They showed up with a couple of women and a couple of nuns and this big monster, right? Big, huge beast of a man. So we had to track him down and get him and rescue her. So that is, okay, let's go. Plus we killed the White Hawks. We're just like, hey, hi, everybody. We're the worst criminals around. Nothing to see here, right? Like, it's inevitable that that our down low don't, gain attention has been pretty much thrown out the window. So where Harrigan's like, we could do a game where it's like you start out like this, and then it's, exploring, and you're not going to be chased. And then we ran into some more, and we didn't treat them very well either. So some of the things that we are encountering, yeah, we definitely deserve the big hammer to come down on our head. Crowdcast serve. Are the bulk of the TTRPG gamers here old hat dungeon crawler types, or are there some powered by the apocalypse forged in the dark types? Good question. I will speak on behalf of the chat, although they'll kind of chime in. Some of them are all over the place. It's funny because I think the community comes. If you're not familiar with the Gaming and BS podcast, that's where many of us have met. And we were very system agnostic, didn't want to bash any particular system. We had our certain preferences. And I think what we have, the individuals we have attracted, if you will, are the ones that, you like that game? Okay, I don't like it. But that's cool, you do. And, oh, by the way, that mechanic's kind of silly and dumb, but whatever. And then one person goes, well, so what, I like it. And then, what do you like? So they're all game masters. A majority of the community is game masters. So all of us, most of us have played like 5e, and then some of us are more PBTA, and some have run Forged in the Dark games. I'd say a majority of the community is like new SR, OSR, some fantasy stuff. It's all over the place, honestly. In fact, I've run OSC as one shot and it was great. Arrogant says both. Sweet, yeah. I will say this: I would say the community for sure is not just 5e. There are people that play 5e. There are people that run 5e, but 5e is not the thing in the community. Many of us have played the snot out of it. Pathfinder 2, so. Yeah, there was a fair bit of murder. Well, I mean, murder. I call it self-defense, whatever you want to call it. Wayne says OSR style games are great one-shots. OSR's real meat is the setting. May want a longer game to appreciate. I would totally use the setting in Shadowdark. Totally. Also, I would love to play OSR West Marches. Because when I've run Shadowdark, these guys aren't getting any taste of lethality. Well, then, Sean, you're then you're probably not running Shadowdark correctly, Sean. God. Well, maybe. Blake's a big fan of PBTA and Forged in the Dark. Blake's designed some PBTA and base games. Don't pay the fare, man. Plug for that. Tad says all over the place guy here. There you go. Tim's if Tim if Tim Jensen was an athlete, he'd be Wilt Chamberlain. Tim has slept with more games than anybody I know. It's a great analogy, right? Well, there's a comparison. Crowd, I'm large. I contain multitudes. Love PBTA, OSR, new SR, YZE. BRP doesn't fit into either choice. Iron Sworn, Forged, Starforged, Sundered Isles is my jam. Yeah, everybody chime in. Help Crowdcast serve. Let them know what we're doing here. Sounds like a good group to make a game system with. Well, maybe. Read Forged in the Dark as Fart in the Dark, not Forged. I failed. Ryan, what? Come on, man. Shambot says I'm all over the map. I want to play anything that I have never tried before. Murder Hobo Show. I won't turn down a game, but I don't run single D20 roll, pass, or fail anymore. I like a good rolling mechanic that leads to extra stuff or interesting choices. I will say I'm on the Delta Green kick pretty heavy right now, playing in Outcast Silver Raiders and Coriolis. So YZE, percentile, basic role playing. And then kind of an OSR, new SR. Orcus Dorcas, short attention spans. Orcus Dorcas is all over the place too. New shinies just get worse with age, so we're pretty much all over the place with games. Another reason you'll get uninvited from CheapCon, Ryan. That's right. Eileen, good to see you. Eileen's Cypher System fan, amongst other things. Tim says it's true. The Wilt Chamberlain of role-playing games. I don't like games. I just come here to see Sean's hair. Well, there you go. There you go. I'll try any game twice. There you go. I'm not in a camp of games I've run or played. I want to play or run most any game with some things like supers being things I am not interested in. Laramie says, I love conventions to try things I've never played. Yeah, so there you go. But a lot of us have run, I've run, what is it? Paradigm, right? Which is Deathmatch Island, Savage Worlds, DCC, Delta Green, YZE stuff, Star Wars, 3 different versions, all over the place. Oh, Trumpet Man, thank you so much. Very much appreciate the contribution. Thank you so much, man. Hey, I should call it Sean's Hair Fund. Contribute to Sean's Hair Fund. Much appreciated. You don't go to game conventions and play lots of different games, you're really missing out. You are. But it's not for everybody. Let's get in this. Thanks for kind of entertaining the game that we are having. And it's just kind of one thing that was I was hoping to spur more discussion around describing what you're doing in a game and how many times do we fall into, all right, we set up watch. Okay, cool. And then it's assumed, but so the detail's lacking, which doesn't provide, a great upswing to something that might help you benefit from details from the game. Anyways, I feel like I learn games just to perpetually world build. At this point, my games don't really take off because I lack a good table. Lots of cool setting stuff, though. Yeah. Well, the struggle is real. Thanks for the topic. That was well off the beaten path. Good. I hope so. Thanks. Maybe listening to the car, but I have to run. DCC, good luck. Wayne, don't forget your stamp. Sean, you are a mensch. Thanks for all you do for us. Thank you. Online or in person, try new things. You'll find something new every time. While Wilt is famous, I love Kareem for not only his career, but all the great things he did after, for sure. My current options for setting down for a long campaign are Barbarians of Lemuria, DCC, Lankmar, Against the Star Master, or Space 1999. Just got to figure it out. No, Smurfs, man. Put some Smurfs in there. Be Smurfalicious. Ted, got to run, teaching a game. See you guys. Thanks for the 200. Appreciate it. Barbarians of Lemuria. Ask about it on the Discord server. Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm going to get into some news stuff. We'll crank through the news. Get through some things. Quick. Well, that's weird. That's not what I wanted. What is that? Oh, my goodness. That is not... Do I have 2 Firefoxes open? What is going on, man? No? Well, that's something. That is something weird. Let me fix that quick. I don't know what is really going on here. Stuff. Something really weird going on. I finally got it right, captured. I literally selected Firefox twice and it selected something else. Anyways, moving into news, Adventuring Family, the new TTRPG designed for happy family therapy. So just a real good, feel-good RPG article, and not only article, but venture, if you will. A tabletop role-playing game published earlier this year, Adventuring Family aims to be both a therapeutic tool and a family-friendly no-prep adventure system suitable for children as young as 4. It's been designed with inclusivity as a core principle. It seeks to provide an engaging experience for children, including those with ADHD, Asperger's, and other social or emotional challenges, by fostering teamwork, problem-solving skills, and emotional intelligence. So, yay, they should get some spotlight, if you will. Link in the chat. I wanted to highlight that because, hey, good stuff, right? 7th Sea, Studio Gate acquires the TTRPG from Chaosium. So Chaosium bought it from John Wick Games because John had some bills to pay, so he sold the game to Chaosium. Now Chaosium's selling it. Studio Gate is going to take over future development for the world of Thea. They are a French publisher, if you haven't heard of them, is no stranger to the game of swords and sorcery, having managed the French language version of 7th Sea since 2017. So obviously they love the game. They appreciate the game. They're going to take it over. So there you go. My guess, like Rick Meintz, from president of Chaosium, states, Studio Gate has been delivering exceptional work on the French version of 7th Sea since 2017, and last year successfully launched the first official 7th Sea campaign for the English language market. We are confident that they are the perfect team to carry forward the legacy of the epic universe. My guess is that Chaosium's just not going to do anything with it, and they wanted to, so they just asked, like, how much would it cost if we could buy it from you? And it's a good thing, I would think, right? Let's, if Chaosium's just going to sit on it and not do anything, get somebody that loves it and has a passion for it. So there you go. Next one, D&D and a Castle organizer to launch D&D Dungeon Master University. This is coming out in like 2026, January. Spots will be limited. I don't know. A couple comments are like, I have many feels about this. A seminar to help dungeon masters improve their skills. Tabletop Vacations that's the org, is launching DMU with the first symposium launching in early 2026. This is an officially licensed D&D event. In other words, they're paying for that, meaning that DM University can use the logo and other D&D IP in their promotional work. Dungeon Master University will take place at Oglethorpe University in Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia. So there you go. There you go. And then lastly for the news, I don't know if you guys saw this. Supers gets a little here and there on our Discord. The word is out. Steve Kenson, who has worked for Green Ronin for years, can finally say that I've been working on a 4th edition of Mutants and Masterminds, and that an Origin playtest edition is releasing in PDF and a limited print run at the end of the month for Gen Con. So stay tuned to Green Ronin, or Green Ronin, if you will, and to Mutants and Mastermind Monday for more. So there you go. And I think it's even being officially, more officially stated outside even Steve. I think it's from Green Ronin. So there you go. That's the news. That's the close-up of my face. Next, bundles. Bundle. You're a Numenera fan. There's a bundle, RPG collection. 45 items in this sucker for like $30. Just over $1 a item. If you like Numenera, here's good stuff to get in for a PDF. Look at all these things. That's a lot of Numenera. And that goes on and on and on. There you go. Let me see. What else? Shoot. There was one. Nope, I think that's it all I had. Yes. There's another one. Did not bookmark for some reason. That's okay. That's all right. All good. That's all I got for bundles. Yeah. Let's do print news. go over to EN World. Go over there. Check out all these websites. Click on all their ads. Print news. First up, Amazing Adventures, Comrades, Free Fire Zone by Trollord Games. $11. Soft cover adventure. Somewhere on Earth in the future, the PCs live with the aftermath of a catastrophe that has ruined their worlds and leaves them fighting for their lives. Next one, In Liberty's Shadow and Basic Role-Playing Quick Start, Free RPG Day by Chaosium. $45. And then you can get the BRP with it. London isn't the only place where magic has returned to the world. On the far side of the Atlantic Ocean, old factions are stirring once again to rub shoulders with brash newcomers to the American demi-monde. Next one, Caverns of Thracia, 2024 DCC edition, Monsters of Magic, Beneath the Isle of Serpents for both versions, Sacrificial Pyre for DCC, all from the Goodman's Games. Next one, Mistletoe Spear Adventure by Pendlehaven. It's a softcover adventure for Fate of the Norms system, Ragnarok, 2nd edition. Based on the novel of the same name, PCs are dispatched by Jarl Eric Bloodaxe on an impossible mission to recover the Spear of Destiny that slew fair Baldur, which is hidden in a kingdom locked in Fimbulwinter. And then the last one, Onward by Weird Games, Through the Breach, 2nd edition, softcover supplement. PCs have the option to play an inducted, a member of the legendary Explorers Society. They will delve into the lost lands, never before seen, and explore in style. Bougie. Sounds bougie. Just me? I got like a weird hair on my nose that's driving me crazy and making my nose itch. The more you know. The more you know. Next. Whoops. Let's do this. Crowdfunding. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Crowdfunding. First one. These are ones in the last throes of their campaign. So go and check them out and see if you can get in before they close or do a late pledge. First one. Pets and Sidekicks Companions for D&D. Level Up. A5E and TOV. It's a lot of acronyms. From EN Publishing. It is funded 1,800%. Booyah. Next one, 100 one-shots. Instant adventures for fantasy RPGs from the Midnight Quill, specifically for 5e. That's funded. 5e still kicking ass on the crowdfunding trail. Next one, Righteous Vow 3, an RPG for old school gaming from Crawl Club Publishing. This is funded. So a zine, 140-page zine, $18,000 US. Not bad. Of Shadowdark RPG Monsters. Ooh, I might have to grab that one. Just put Shadowdark in my pocket. Keep all bringing that stuff up. Magic Items Maps, Hexcrawl, and a full adventure. That's cool. Sapphire Seas, the first complete level 1 to 10 adventure for Shadowdark. Shadowdark. It's going to just, everything's going to be, it's just going to be all over the place. This is funded $11,000 for a goal of $250. Booyah! From Menagerie Press. 350 pages. Book details 10 level adventure across 14 islands. 20 dungeons, 100 encounter sites, new magic items, monsters, and more. Next one, Mothership. Engram, an adventure for the Mothership RPG. €10 for the PDF, funded. On a mining moon, the overbearing corporation is pushing the miners towards rebellion. In this world of clones and AI manipulation, you'll try to survive a Mothership adventure. Botch. Make your own look. Make your own look. Founders Edition. RPG accessory. It don't cover a huge number of dice, but Botch dice are offering the usual polyhedrals in a different way. First, theirs are larger than normal, ranging from 10 to 30 to 10 to 30% for the D20. Second, they cover the bonus surface area with artwork using a process they call ink effects technology. Got to read them. That's all I got to say. Third, these dice are made in Wisconsin. Probably formed from rotten cheese. With the packaging sourced from China. So the concerns around tariffs are not as difficult as some competitors. There you go. Look at that, 46,000 of a 30,000 goal. Green Ronin Publishing, support Green Ronin in critical legal defense. That's the GoFundMe. They've got it now on the crowdfunding page of EN World. Oh yeah, Third Floor Wars snuck in here. Who's this guy? Where's this guy coming from? Craig Shipman. Drug Dwarf. Well, newcomers. Hi, Sean. I'm glad I could catch it. What I haven't missed? Oh, you missed a little bit. Like you guys are coming in on the tail end. No offense. But good to see you guys nonetheless. A huge crowd today. Might have more. If I have everybody like this video, I might have the most likes for a live stream within the first hour than the previous 199 episodes. Fact. That wraps everything up today, folks. For those that probably came or were here months ago and said, man, Sean's stream's cool, but man, it's like 2 hours. Let's get like an hour and trim it down to about an hour 15. Getting down there. So if you're coming in at the tail end, you can rewind it all the way back. Start at 0. Work your way forward. Right? Where have you heard that before? Am I right? Right. Can't stop, Sean. I need 30 more minutes of content. Rewind it. Anyways, that's all I got for today, folks. I got to get you guys out of here so you can go game or do something. Do something with your lives, for Pete's sakes. I want to thank all these individuals that have contributed to me over months and weeks and days. A few shekels of their hard-earned, well-earned cash in the coffers. Thank you so much. Trumpet, thanks so much for all the things today. That was very generous of you. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being here along this whole journey. Like, I know you don't make it to all of them, and that's cool. But the ones that you do, priceless. It's like a freaking MasterCard commercial. Having you show up to the stream on Saturday, priceless. For everything else, there's MasterCard. You're welcome, MasterCard. Free plug. Anyways, if you like this, check out this video over here. Maybe something you might have seen. Maybe you have. I don't know. But I'll let you go. Take care of yourselves. Keep gaming and be a positive force in tabletop RPG hobby. And we'll see you next week, 8 a.m. Central Time, right here. All right. Ciao.